Today we'll be solving absolute value inequalities. So in order for us to figure out what are the possible solutions, we're going to say it's going to be 2t minus 3 less than or equal to 5. And of course you hear the word and, so it's going to be and. And you have 2t minus 3 greater than or equal to negative 5. So you're going to go through the process of solving each inequality. You're going to add 3 to both sides. Negative 3 plus 3 is 0, so you're left with 2t is less than or equal to 8. And since you're multiplying, you're going to go ahead and divide both sides by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So you have t is less than or equal to 4. Now we're going to go ahead and graph the one on the right. I'm going to solve the one on the right, so we're going to add 3 to both sides. Negative 3 plus 3 is 0, so you're left with 2t is greater than or equal to negative 5 plus 3, which is negative 2. You divide both sides by 2, so 2 divided by 2 is 1. So you have t is greater than or equal to negative 1. So now to display your answer, you have to do a graph. Of course, this is not drawn to scale. This is negative 1, and I'm going to say this is 4. We always put an open circle around the numbers 4 and negative 1. And how do we know if it's solid? If there's an equal sign. So in this case, there's an equal sign. And then what you want to do is you want to use a different color. And it says t, or any number less than or equal to 4. And we look, what number is less than 4? 3, 2, 1, so we're going in this direction. The other solution says t is greater than or equal to negative 1. Well, what numbers are larger than negative 1? We know it's 4. So where the two colors intersect, that will be your answer. So it's all the numbers between negative 1 and 4, including negative 1 and including 4. Example B, we have the 1/2, and then we have the absolute value of 2w minus 1 minus 3. So in this situation, we have the 1/2 absolute value 2w minus 1 minus 3 greater than or equal to 1. Remember, we have to have the absolute value by itself on the left side. So I'm going to add 3 to both sides. So you have 1/2 absolute value 2w minus 1. Negative 3 plus 3 is 0. Greater than or equal to 1 plus 3 is 4. And now since you have the 1/2, you're going to multiply by 2 over 1. You're going to multiply by 2 over 1. And we notice that the 2's cancel. And we know it's going to be 1. So you have the absolute value of 2w minus 1 is greater than or equal to 4 times 2, which is 8. And that's what you want to have. You just want to have the absolute value on one side. So now I'm going to go ahead and write down my two possible answers, or set of answers. So we have 2w minus 1 greater or equal to 8. And since it's greater, and you can hear the or, it's or. Then you have 2w minus 1 less than or equal to negative 8. Now we're going to go ahead and solve each inequality. So we add 1 to both sides. Negative 1 plus 1 is 0. You're left with 2w greater than or equal to 9. Divide by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. You're left with W is greater than, it'd be 4.5 or 4.5. So now we're going to go ahead and solve the second inequality by adding 1 to both sides. So we have 2W, negative 1 plus 1 is 0. So you're left with less than or equal to negative 8 plus 1, which gives you negative 7. Divide by 2. So we have W is less than or equal to negative 3.5, and this is OR. This is OR. So let's go ahead and graph our solution. We have 0, we have negative 3.5, and you have 4.5. And you want to write a circle here, or draw a circle. Draw a circle in each endpoint. And since the equal exists here, you're going to go ahead and shade it. I would use a colored pencil just so you can see what's happening. W, which represents any number that is larger than 4.5, which is in this direction. And then any number that is less than or equal to negative 3, which is negative 3.5, which is in this direction. Okay. Okay, C, we have the absolute value of 3z minus 2 plus 5 greater than 9. Remember, we want the absolute value by itself, so we're going to go ahead and subtract. We're going to subtract 5 from both sides. So we have the absolute value of 3z minus 2. 5 minus 5 is 0. Greater than 9 minus 5 is 4. That is the form that we wanted. So it's going to be 3z minus 2 is greater than 4. And when you say the word greater, you hear or. 3z minus 2 less than negative 4. And then you're going to go ahead and do the proper steps to solve each inequality. So we want to isolate z, so we're going to add 2 to both sides. Negative 2 plus 2 is 0. You're left with 3z is greater than 6. And then we're going to go ahead and divide by 3. So z is greater than 2. Or, so the second inequality, you're going to go ahead and add 2 to both sides. You add 2 to both sides, so we have negative 2 plus 2, which is 0. You're left with 3z is less than negative 4 plus 2, which gives you negative 2, divided by 3. So z is less than negative 2/3. So what you're going to do now is you're going to go ahead and graph your answer. We have 0, negative 2/3, and then we have 2. Open circle, open circle. You don't shade because there is no equal sign. So it says any number larger than 2, we're going to shade in this direction. Any number less than negative 2/3, we're going to shade in the left direction. So these are all the all the possible answers for this inequality. So we have this inequality. The only difference with this inequality compared to your other inequalities is you have a fraction, right? Inside the absolute value. But you're going to go through the same process. You first have to subtract 2 from both sides. And you have the absolute value of m divided by 4 minus 3. 2 minus 2 is 0. Greater than 8 minus 2, which is 6. So now your answers will be m divided by 4 minus 3 greater than 6. Or m divided by 4 minus 3 less than negative 6. So the first step to solve the left inequality is to add 3 to both sides. So you have m over 4. This becomes 0. 6 plus 3 is 9. You notice that we have the 4 in the denominator, so you're going to multiply by 4. You're actually multiplying by the reciprocal. 4 divided by 4 is going to be left with m is greater than 9 times 4, which is 36. Or you're going to add 3 to both sides, and you have m divided by 4 is less than negative 3. You multiply by the reciprocal, which is 4. The 4's cancel, you're left with m less than negative 3 times 4 is negative 12. So your answer, and I'm not drawing this to scale, you have an open circle, you have an open circle, and it says m is greater than 36. So we know that we will shade 37, 38, 39 in this direction because these numbers are greater than 36. Less than, m is less than negative 12, so we're going to shade in the opposite direction.